My name's Chris.
I'm Christy.
This is the Washing Up Podcast. Yeah, I know. It's not actually Great British Bake Off Night.
No, it's even better.
It's even better.
It's Great Liesel Bake Off Night.
Hey, Liesel, how you going?
Hey, guys, I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. So we wanted to have a chat. First of all, just because, well...
You're awesome.
Yeah, we like talking to you.
Ah, stop it.
And that's... No.
Okay, just hit stop now.
Okay.
Just stop now.
This is Chris. We're out. No. And also because, as everyone by now would be aware, they've announced the next series of the Great Australian Bake Off.
Indeed.
Yes, finally. I've been waiting on that.
So, yeah, well, haven't we all? We've all been waiting.
And
Too long.
Far too long. 2017 and 2018. What would the world think of next?
Yes.
And it's moving to Thursday nights. Like, it's just...
It's going to mess with our heads.
We have...
Yeah, I don't know that I'm okay with that. They're changing too many things.
Yeah, don't change things.
Next they'll get rid of Maggie and they'll get rid of Mel and Claire and it'll just be like a finished one.
Filming.
Yes. Actually, that wouldn't be bad, but I still want everybody else. I'd want Noel to be the next Maggie, actually.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
He'd like Verjuice.
As long as he dressed up like Maggie. Like if he wore her clothes.
And he'd like
more awesome clothes.
And he'd love Verjuice. Think of the amount of jokes you could make about Verjuice. Awesome. So we wanted to have a bit of a chat with you because we figured, the lead into, a new series of Bake Off and what that's like for the bakers. And, well, who better to talk to really than someone who's done it? I mean, it's helpful. Won't lie. It's easier to talk about this process with someone who's done it.
Unless we just sit there guessing. Well, I guess they auditioned. I guess they baked okay.
So how long from when you first, apply to when you got the come in and see us about this?
So you start off doing the online application and then they give you a little call or an email saying, hey, come audition in your hometown, bring us some baked goods and we'll eat it and tell you if you're good enough.
Imagine if that's your job to go around eating people's cakes. Just fly around Australia eating people's cakes. That's an awesome job. Okay.
Yes, but they hardly ate anything because obviously they'd have had so much over that time and they'd be seeing, 40 to 100 people a day.
As we found out, only Paul Hollywood can do that.
Yes. After they do that, they go on to the next stage and fly you over to Sydney, I think it was. Perth, WA didn't really have a lot of applicants, so I think there's only 40 of us, whereas there were multiple hundred from Melbourne and Sydney.
Wow.
So they got, I think, more people in that round of auditions just because they didn't really have to fly them anywhere. Mm-hmm. But they flew, I think, 5 of us across, James included, and we sat next to each other on the plane, which was quite nice, became friends.
Well, that's handy that you had a friend.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And, you go bake over there under sort of stressed conditions. So, it's like you do a technical bake over there and they film you and have an interview. And then about 3 weeks later, I think you get the call. Yay or nay.
So, I can just imagine. I know that when they're filming you, obviously, and it's really in the competition, the stress is probably insane and it looks insane. But how is it when you're doing I need to do this right to get in?
It's kind of terrifying because, you want to make stupid jokes and dirty jokes about what you're baking because that's what you do all the time. Yeah, it's hard not to.
That's kind of the way it works.
Like my muffins.
But yeah, you don't want to seem like a complete, idiot or be boring or anything. I mean, I'm sure part of the reason that we got onto the show was a little bit of personality. I think no one's going to want to watch someone that won't talk.
What do you mean personality? There was no personality in your year. No one talked. No one swore.
It was we found out, actually, I think at some point during the actual filming that they'd given us each a bit of a character background. Which was terrible because it was almost nothing like us, but I think they picked us to fill those roles. James was the lovable IT nerd.
But it didn't. But none of you matched what they tried.
And who was Fee, the sweary one?
Look, we just called her the token Asian. I don't know what they called her.
She's here to meet minority requirements.
Exactly. She was our token. Yeah, so that was a bit weird when we found that out, but it's still TV at the end of the day.
But it was really interesting because, like, you could see in the first episode that they were hoping that you'd match all these profiles, and then by about episodes 4, they just sort of went, "Nah,
fuck it,
fuck it, let's let them go. Let's just let them go." Again,
let them be free, free range makers.
I'd like to think that again, the seminal moment in your series is the moment that Fee dropped the pies.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's the moment where I think the producers just went, let's run with what we got.
Yeah.
Because this is brilliant.
Yep. There was no way you could edit out her screaming because, honestly, it filled the shed. There were dogs running around the park that just fled. They just ran away. Everybody stopped. The ovens probably stopped. So
what's that process like once you find out, first of all, finding out that you're in?
Oh my God. I cried.
They tell you when you're there, or do they wait till you go back and ring you up and go, by the way, you're coming
3
back?
Weeks later.
Yeah.
No, they wait till you go back, but they tell you approximately when they'll give you a call. And so I got the call quite early in that stage, and I was like, fuck, this is either really good because they're calling all the good things first, or it's really bad because they're saying the no's first.
They're getting rid of the easy ones to get rid of first. Look, I'm sorry that you forgot to turn your oven on for the whole of the audition. You're out.
You handed in cake batter, which was delicious.
Look,
salmonella.
Look, we like the idea of cookies, but we don't want them in the plastic tube that you got from the supermarket, all right?
And raw and served with a spoon.
I mean, the cookie dough was great,
yes,
but we asked for baked.
This is the Great Australian Bake Off, not
yes,
the Great
exactly.
Australian Raw Off.
That's a very different show.
That's slightly more XXX rated.
Either XXX rated or Pete Evans rated, one or the other. Which, look, let's face it, they're both the same show.
I would never do a show with Pete Evans on it.
No.
I tell you that much.
You creepily look over your shoulder, looking like glowing orange, and go, "Did you activate your flower?"
I just, by the way, I really genuinely believe that he sits there at the kitchen table and goes, "Almonds, activate!" And that's how he does it.
Yeah, I'm sure he has like a little superhero cape he puts on and just gets really intense about it. And the only thing that calms him down is someone like fanning him with a bunch of kale.
Perfect. Absolutely. So once you find out,
yeah.
So do they give you a lovely cover story for the family? Like, I have to go to Sydney and do Sydney things.
No, they basically just say you can only tell your employer, because obviously you have to leave work for that time, and you can tell your immediate family.
So everyone else just thought you went underground and you were a witness and turned state's evidence.
Yeah, like it's not like we're allowed to still have our phones, we're allowed to have contact with the outside world, all that jazz, but don't
check in at the Bake Off shed.
Oh yeah, exactly. I was like, surprise.
Week 3, still here. Check in.
Yeah, exactly. People would be like, what the fuck's going on with you?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Not giving it away much. Week 4, still here. Semi-final. OMG!
Oh God. So when I first got the call, I was actually at work and I missed it because I was in shocking reception. And obviously you're not allowed to answer your phone when you're working. Yeah. So I said to my boss, I've got to run out. I've got to call them back. This is an unknown number. I'm damn sure it's Bake Off. So she's like, yep, go. Called them back 5 times. No answer. Because obviously they were me. I was like, no, it's a sign. They're going to give away my place because I didn't answer the phone. That's how much I was freaking out.
I like the idea that the producers are working on that tight a time. They're like, well, we rang her once.
Cash cow.
You're done.
You answer the phone. I wake up with today.
Oh God. But yeah, and then obviously I got through and they're like, yeah, we'd like to have you on the show. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm just going to go cry for a minute, but keep talking.
Keep talking.
So no, I was, one of the best days of my life getting that phone call. And then slightly worse because then I called James because we auditioned together, obviously. And I was like, James, have you had a call? I didn't say anything because I wasn't allowed to say anything to him. And I was like, James, have you heard anything? He's like, I might have. And I'm like, and he's like, did you hear anything? I'm like, I might have. So we're both sort of cat and mousing it, and he's just like, well, I am the fill-in. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. No, if someone drops out, I'm in. I'm like, oh no. Yeah, I got in. And then as luck would have it, because I was fingers crossing that someone would have to drop out, someone did, and James got on.
Yay! So you actually ended up with your friend.
Yes, absolutely. I was so stoked to have another Perth person, because I thought if I have to go it alone and represent WA, I'll fucking crumble under the pressure like my stack of 3 pies did.
So in the lead up to it, did you have to then start to create a wardrobe and that kind of stuff that was TV worthy?
I tried to. There's a few sort of stipulations. I mean, obviously you can't have any branding and stuff on your clothes, and I only just picked
no tiny stripes because they don't show up on TV too well.
Yes. Yeah. James had to go and change out of one of his shirts on set one day because of tiny checkers on them or something. Who knows?
Oh, absolutely. They would just do everyone's head in, unfortunately. So I'm definitely filling in because Chris is having to herd one of our cats out who's being a little bit needy. So he's going to stealthily go down our stairs, which are creak worthy. Oh, now he's not going to be stealthy coming back up because I've just given it away.
We're in the studio, everyone at home. This is the studio. It's a highly professional studio setup we have.
Yes.
So
can you pass?
I can. There you go.
Indeed.
So let me readjust my headset. No, we're all good. How many different bakes did you practice before you went? And did you have a bank of them going, well, if they do this, I'll do this? Were you that strategic, or were you just like, oh yeah, whatever?
I was pretty freaked out because as soon as they give you the call, right, the next day they send you the first 3 or 4 weeks of briefs that you have to prep for.
Wow.
So straight up, I was planning shit, and the first showstopper, that ombre cake, I practiced probably 3 or 4 times. And right, don't get me wrong, cake's delicious, but I really fucking hate it. I can appreciate it, but I hate decorating. I hate buttercream icing. It was the worst thing. So I'd be making these fucking amazing cakes with all this decoration and then just going, all right, family, nobody wants it. Going once, going twice. All right, chickens, here you go.
I won't lie. I agree with you. I think buttercream icing is way overdone.
Yeah, but you know what? Secret time. Maggie Beer likes buttercream icing much better than she likes cake.
She has mentioned that, yes.
Yep. I don't know if I've told you. It's still something I'm processing, and I learned this.
Yeah, see, I'm cake over icing.
I
don't even ice. When I'm icing a cake, I don't always even ice the sides of the cake, so I've only got the top of it. Yeah. And I've got the back of the cake's like normal.
I'm pastry over cake.
Yeah, you're pastry. I'm pastry over cake too.
Oh, I'm pastry over cake all the way.
And as I revealed to you, and I've also told you before, Liesel, I'm savoury over sweet. But
here we are.
Doing Bake Off. So it's why not?
But honestly, I was practicing quite a lot in the lead up with all the bakes. I made that biscuit Taj Mahal at home. And I tried sticking it together with toffee, right? And it just collapsed everywhere.
So you knew by the time you got there that it wasn't going to work?
Yeah, well, apparently my parents had a conversation without my knowledge, and they told me this afterwards. They were like, yeah, as soon as we saw that fucking hideous thing, we thought, yep, she's going home in that week. Prepare for that one. I'm like, Star Baker, get out of it.
You ring around, yeah, bitches, what about it?
Yeah, exactly. I had no idea. Apparently my dad was like, yep, she'll be home in week 2.
All I've got in my head now is that scene from The Simpsons where Bart makes Marge the at least you tried cake. And your parents had one of those ready for you in week 2.
And then they had to eat it.
Make cake and eat it, bitches.
That's exactly.
Chickens are eating cake for the next 2 weeks.
Now, what with a synergy this week on Great British Bake Off, who was it made an Earl Grey tea custard, and I use that word loosely
because it wasn't very good.
Because it looked more like your Earl Grey tea pouring into the Taj Mahal. When I had a little, remember when Liesel did that moment? A bit better because it was intentional.
Remember when Liesel mentioned that as opposed to what they just did there?
Yeah, exactly. Mine was totally intended.
I'm assuming that you tested your bakes to a time limit, unlike the Great British Bake Off this week, where the guy made the cake but made them in muffin tins and didn't make them at the time. It was Tom last week where he made his hummingbird cake, but he made them in muffin tins and didn't time himself.
Yes.
So, couldn't work out why the big hummingbird cake that he made was raw.
He was practicing for the Pete Evans challenge.
But yeah,
activate,
damn it, activate.
He forgot to activate his hummingbird cake.
So I'm assuming that you practice with timings and like to the right consistency, not like random amounts.
Like loosely. Like honestly, I should have put in way more effort than I did.
Yeah, you made semi-final. It's rubbish.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah. No, but honestly, when you're in the moment and you're sort of trying to do everything at once, I mean, I'm sure we were all practicing the bakes while we had school or like work and shit alongside. But even when you're practicing at the apartments when you're living together, like it's super difficult because you'll do a long day of filming, you'll come home and want to practice bakes, and then you got to go back the next day, or you've got a promotional thing to shoot, and you're baking till 4 a.m. and going, when did I start? Was that the right time? Fuck it, it'll be the right time on the day. I'm sure I can do that.
Showbiz, it'll be all right on the night. It'll be fine.
Now it's 4 a.m. Exactly. I start midnight.
Yeah, so I sort of practiced to time limits, but most things I thought,
it's normal, give or take 12 hours. We're sweet.
Yeah, exactly.
8 o'clock at some point during the bake, we're good.
So what is that time frame between getting the call and having to fly over to, begin the bake-off camp?
I think it was around a month. I don't know, because I'm pretty sure I got the call in the end of March, start of April, and I think we started filming in May.
She went into a haze of cake.
Yeah,
she went into a coma.
It was like one of those montages in a movie where months fly past and like the calendar just goes, except it was cakes.
Yes.
Yep, just cakes and just like splatters of buttercream and chickens eating cake, and then there was like photos of Taj Mahals collapsing, and it was just honestly, it's like looking back at Vietnam. I'm not even sure I remember it.
Documentary is that like getting the film crews in there and that 4 weeks leading up, or giving everyone GoPros to
not just filming like interstitials where you look like you've got it all together, or like my favorite moment, Liv repainting the door, which is still my favorite video insert moment of the whole Bake Off run, was Liv just painting that door. I'm like, did it need painting? She's like, no, maybe we sort of did a little bit. Like, yeah, no, really. I said,
yeah.
So we did.
My favourite was when they interviewed Mon, and she was making pizzas with her kids, and she was like, Mummy's going to take a little cheese off, and Sabrina's like, no! That's my favourite moment in the filming of the entire show.
It's absolutely perfect. And by the way, if you don't start a baking blog called Chickens Eating Cake...
It's just going to be pictures of chickens eating the shit that I've fucked up.
That's an Instagram. Is chickens eating cake? The Insta is just you taking Instagram photos of the chickens eating whatever you've just made.
Actually, you know what? That's a really good idea.
Yeah, I've trademarked it. It's mine now. No.
You don't even have chickens.
I can get them.
Gifted to Liesel.
It's ours with our blessing.
I'll make your wedding pastry cake.
Yes.
Done.
It'll be all pastry, no cake.
For everybody.
You know what the bitchiest thing about our wedding is that some fucking trumped up bitch and her prince decide to put their wedding date on our wedding date. And you know what? That's horrible, because we pitched it as the wedding of the day. And you know what?
We're still the wedding of the day.
We're still the wedding of the day. Okay.
I don't
assholes.
They're doing. I don't care what Harry and Meghan are doing.
Oh, look!
You should sue. You should just sue.
I thought about it. Won't lie. I thought about it so they can cover our costs.
Yeah, exactly.
So that would make sense.
Our hundreds of dollars of extra.
Our hundreds we're spending. But yeah, no, okay, that's fine. We'll trade. You can make us some pastry thing and with layers, lots of layers. Not naming anything.
We can't sell
Shut up.
Shit, sorry, I'm sneezing.
Gesundheit, you bastard.
What? I wouldn't. Yeah, I would do that. That is me. So you get in there, and then it just becomes a bit of a, as you called it, a baking camp.
It's baking camp. You know, like before they go into baseball. I've seen those movies where they go to baseball camp, you know, before they start.
Are we talking a league of their own?
Yeah.
There's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in the bake-off tent either.
Oh, there's so much crying in the bake-off
tent. No, it's not allowed. There's no crying in the bake-off tent.
Okay, well, there's crying inside, outside.
Lots of
all
crying.
Around it, really.
This year's too salty and too wet. What more did you want from me?
Cake's not salty enough. Give me a minute.
It's me on a plate. It's me on a plate. Now we're getting into Pete Evans.
Now we're getting deep. This has become a deep dive all of a sudden.
Well, we actually need someone to like crack it in one season and write for Nathan. And I sing. Sorry, let's go back to MasterChef.
That's a MasterChef throwback. For the people who listen to both our MasterChef and the Bake Off one, you're pissing yourselves right now.
For those who aren't.
Just Google For Nathan MasterChef and just
enjoy.
Enjoy the fact that in scrambling a dish for her son, which was really bad, she wrote For Nathan sauce. Just amazing. It was amazing. Mind blown. And the judges went, we know you bake for your children, but you don't really have to write it on the plate in sauce.
Yeah, that was Carmen, wasn't it? Because she's now got an awesome pastry place.
Yeah, notice there's nothing saucy.
All right.
Nothing in sauce. Back to this, however.
Back to Liesel's journey.
So I was going to ask, is there anything in there that still gives you nightmares? But I did sneeze it, I think.
Yep. I'm never making one of those things again.
Yeah, I was about to say, because, surely it became your favourite thing to make.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I love dry cake that you have to soak in alcohol to make it bearable.
And well,
just skip the cake thing and just go straight to
the alcohol.
Exactly. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I said to you guys last time, Liv and I were practicing in the same apartment, and then we were just like, this is the worst cake we've ever eaten. We should really have practiced this shit and seen what it was like before we submitted our briefs. Because now we both have to make this.
It's been really interesting. I actually think that the guys on British Bake Off for this series watched the last series of Australian Bake Off.
Because there's a few things that are coming through.
They see.
Oh my God.
They're doubling.
Yes. Totally copycats.
Yeah, they're doubling. A whole pile of stuff that you guys did is starting, and not to give anything going forward away with regards to British Bake Off, but there are a couple of challenges coming up that are directly lifted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stolen.
Yeah, it's not like the first or the third challenge. It's that one in the middle there that might be lifted.
Maybe.
But there's also there's a few people that do a bit of jungle themes, and I was waiting for
I reckon that Stacey's been watching Liv, and
Stacey and Yan.
Let's put a whole pile of palm trees and plastic figurines and animals on our cakes.
Exactly.
And I'm sure they watched Liv and just went, "That's great. Let's do that."
It's brilliant. Why didn't I think of this?
But I don't know. Well, am I the only person noticing that it looks like the current series of British Bake Off watched your series of Bake Off? It just feels like they've borrowed really heavily.
Look, to be honest, I watched all the British ones, and I'm fairly sure I got a few ideas off there. So
and again, it's not a negative. I just find it really. I actually think that it's more of a tip of the hat to you guys.
Yeah,
that they watched it.
And I'm pretty sure that Noel and Sandy were studying Mel and Claire, and both saw them in the pastel kind of prints and went, "Yeah, we need matching shirts in those prints."
For sure,
100%. And Prue Leaf is kind of doing a bit of a Mary Berry, and a bit of a. No, she's doing Maggie B more.
She's doing Maggie, and in all honesty, looking at her wardrobe, it's very Maggie Beer. Prue and Maggie and Prue.
But it's been really.
Are they the same person?
Possibly. I don't know about Prue's views on Virtues. Need to find that out. Outside of the the cake that shall not be named. Stop
it.
Is there
Bless you.
Yes, thank you. It's horrible. It's horrible when you sneeze in German. Is there anything else that sort of has still stuck with you? I mean, we talked immediately sort of after everything last time. Is there anything now this far down the track that you made that still stuck with you for good or bad?
Probably the stack of 3 pies. That was something. I still make pies because I love pastry, but
I will them on top of each other.
Yeah, that's the stupidest fucking idea I ever read. Honestly,
I don't know.
I'm not.
I think Fee likes it.
I fucking know she does.
Yeah, I feel like Fee has some personal feelings on that one as well.
Yeah.
That said, James's what did he do? The Ploughman's Lunch that came out pretty alright.
Oh look, it stood up.
That's something. The fact that it was structurally, sound. It was more sound than the building that he built.
He obviously believed in the pie, not in the building.
Yeah, exactly.
To quote Monty Python, really, really obscurely.
Yeah. But no, his pie stood up a bit better than the building did, so that was well done.
Yeah. So with the Bake Off journey, so you go through it, right? You finish filming, like you know the ending. You finish filming. What's the void like between the end of filming and the premiering of the thing?
Oh well, straight after, like you go home and you just kind of miss everybody because, well, they feed you all the time. And there is really good food on set as well. It's not just the other bakers. They feed us. Like, I definitely did put on quite a bit of weight while on Bake Off.
You're like, I just had to be there. And,
it's like they call it the freshman 13. You put on the Bake Off 13.
Exactly. It's a baker's dozen.
Well done.
Yeah, so obviously there was a lot of sadness and exercise involved.
They go together quite well, sadness and exercise.
They do. I feel them jointly. But yeah, after that, you talk. We have a group chat on Messenger. Everybody except Noel, because Noel's our lovable old dinosaur. And
also, he's in Tasmania, and electricity is not a regular occurrence.
Exactly, he's a lovable old dinosaur.
Yeah,
just like everybody else.
Messenger pigeon though.
Carrier pigeon for Noel.
Carrier pigeon.
It's all good. We get emails, very long emails from him.
Aww, that's sweet.
Somewhat modern.
But yeah, it sucks because we would bake at home and then send each other pictures and then go, can you mail some of those across, and ha 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 ha, they'll never survive, I've eaten them all already. But yeah, it was kind of sad because like you can't tell anyone, and like a lot of people are like, so where have you been for the past however long? I'm like,
I had leprosy. I've been on the leper colony. I'm all fixed now. I'm all fixed.
I had a rare case of projectile leprosy. I lost an arm and a leg. We've had to sew them back on. It's been a process.
Yep. I joined a cult. There was a lot of ovens and heat and things involved. It was practically religious.
We worshipped at a warm altar
cooped up.
Morning.
Yep, exactly. There was a lot of praying and bread. It was an experience.
We had to make presentations to the Gingham altar.
Exactly.
we were checking our levels every day by checking if the canary was still alive.
Yep.
So
basically, I joined a cult.
Like Maggie and Matt are like the high priest and high priestess. The cult.
Oh my god! And if you disappoint the gods, you are banished.
Yes. Away with you. Away with you.
Leave us.
Leave the cake. Leave the cake.
But as soon as they were announcing the dates and that, obviously we could tell everyone that, hey, I'm on this show, and it was such a good feeling to be able to be like, yeah, no, watch it, but actually no, please don't, because I don't even want to watch myself. Watch everybody else, just not me, please, because I have no idea.
Cover your eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, and then watching it every week was just
what's that process like when you have to go back over it? We sort of talked about it immediately after, but you've had more time to reflect a little bit on how all that stuff goes. And what is it like watching yourself back that many weeks after, and with everybody else watching and commenting?
It's really odd because obviously they catch things on film that you don't know that they're filming. I mean, obviously you realise that you are filmed the entire time that you're in there.
Oh my God!
But you say things to yourself.
Believe it.
Or with Diana, they just got a setting fire to the kitchen every 2 seconds.
Yeah, basically, she was a fucking hazard. Love her to bits, but she was a hazard. But yeah, obviously they have to cut down 6 weeks of filming to 10 hours at the end of it. So obviously there's things they leave out, and yeah, I'm actually very, very happy overall when I look back about how it turned out and how they portrayed everyone and all that stuff. I mean, at the time I was super emotional because any bad comment I got on Twitter or whatever, I'd read and start, beating myself up over it. But yeah, I really enjoyed watching it all back and go, oh my God, I forgot that this little thing happened. Or I'd pause the TV on the second rewatch and I'd say to my family, and what you didn't see here is this happened, that happened, this happened, that happened, that. And then I'll play it again. And that's the context.
So is there support around like how to deal with, like interacting with the public in terms of, when that negative stuff comes through? Because unfortunately it's the nature of reality TV shows. And I think Great Australian Bake Off and Great British Bake Off a little less, but there are still people who enjoy having, a narc fest.
Yeah, and we saw this when we talked to Eloise for MasterChef.
Absolutely.
And they had a really bad time of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, like, the good thing about Bake Off is that they actively portray you as good people that love to bake and love to bake with each other, which is exactly how it is. They don't try and make anyone, the bitch or the mean guy or the whatever you're doing. Like, there's no villains in it, and there's no one who sort of stands out from the rest. Like, they're so good about that, and that's the only reason that, like, I would apply for a TV show as if it was like Bake Off. So it's difficult when you get negative comments and that, but they basically tell you, respond to the good ones, don't respond at all to the bad ones, don't feed the trolls, and it's really hard.
Oh, that's why no one tweets me back.
Yeah, that's why you didn't get anyone.
Oh, I've got to stop trolling. Okay.
Yeah. Welcome.
All right. Work on not being a troll.
Yeah.
All right. I'll start by combing my hair down.
Not living under bridges.
No.
You're not living under a bridge, you'll be fine.
So yeah, but it was fine. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to realize these people are watching 10 hours of footage when they have no idea what actually went on there. So, you don't get control over it after it's filmed. And
I mean, the interesting thing from like our perspective looking at it was, in terms of online interactions, the stuff that we were seeing, I've not seen any show with that much positivity behind it. And yeah, you get the occasional, troll here and there. But for me, looking at the Bake Off social we could see, it was ultra positive, and just everyone was really friendly and like this community that locked in. And the other thing is too, you talked about portrayal. You guys came across as just a genuine, really nice, genuine group of people who like to support each other, which is sort of, having spoken to so many of you since then, obviously what it was. So it's actually it's a fairly accurate depiction.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like they're really good people who work with the crew and the team and the producers and everyone. They genuinely care so much about the bakers on the show, and they'll drop everything to help us or talk to us, or if we're missing family, they'll set up some kind of contact. Like they're honestly awesome, and they did so much for us. So super grateful.
Yeah, go the crew.
I thought you were about
magic makers.
I thought you were about to say, if we're missing someone in the family, they'll go and dress up like them and come back and pretend to be them. Hello, Liesel, I'm your mother. Like that, Dave, the cameraman. Dave, what are you doing? I can see through that costume. That's clearly not Mum.
But thanks for trying.
Sorry.
Now, oh God! No, everyone was awesome, and they do such a good job when they produce the show, and how it comes across to the audience. That it's awesome to have all that support from the viewers behind you, and like every time you have a bad bake, they're like, no, this, I'm so sorry, I cried when that happened. I'm like, oh my god.
But the other bake,
I didn't get that emotion.
Like sitting there watching the show with Christy, and something would happen and someone would have a bake that didn't quite go to plan, and she's there going, no, they can't go home. So who should go home? No one. No, they're not going home. No, they're going to keep everyone.
Yes.
I know. I'm not picking. And as we got closer and closer to this, I'm really not picking this time.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were doing every week. I'm like, oh my God, I've had this bad one, so it's probably going to be me. But then that person's had, a bit of an iffy technical, and can we just keep everyone? And then at the end, you decide.
How about we go, you're all wonderful.
Yes.
The real winner is the art of baking. Here we are.
We're all there. We're all happy.
The real winner is the one woman out the back doing all the dishes for all of us. That's who needs to be recognised here. I'm sorry, but I honestly, nobody told us her name, who she was, but apparently there was only one woman doing all the dishes.
I'd like to think
so grateful to her.
I'd like to think it's one of the producers' mothers who just happened to go by one day and didn't realise and just thought she was cleaning up after a dinner party every day.
Yeah, it's like, come on, guys. Why is there so much caramel today? Jesus.
Why are we doing cake every week?
Do you reckon they were paid in cake? Like they got to take all the leftovers home?
Oh, I hope so, because we certainly didn't want to eat them. Honestly, you practice something 10 times, and then by the time you have to actually make it, they're like, I get asked all the time if, whoever knows I'm on Bake Off find out, they're like, oh my God, did you get to eat the stuff you made? I'm like, we could have, but none of us really fucking wanted to. By the
time you spent that much time, sort of covered in cake, why?
Yeah.
It's like I've got kids who at work who talk about, they work at like KFC and they go, oh my God, you must love KFC. And like, can't touch the stuff.
Yeah.
I'm in the kitchen.
Exactly that.
I can't have it. It's just, it makes me feel.
So I worked at McDonald's for a bit growing up, and it was the complete opposite, because you'd get like your half price meal breaks. That's the only time we'd eat it. But there was this night where the two like older guys out the back dared each other to eat one of everything off the board, basically. And it was a very slow night, but it was greatly enjoyed by watching these two guys down, like
everything on the board.
Everything on the board, basically,
Oh my God.
That's an achievement.
The nuggets, the shakes.
That's an achievement.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's a good achievement, but it's an achievement.
No, they disappeared into the bathroom for a while afterwards, I can say, but
that was it.
That was it.
Oh, brave, bold few. If you're still out there, gentlemen, congratulations.
Personal challenges are what make up life, and I think they were both winners that day.
Look, I think everybody within the fast food industry is a winner after that story.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's made everyone a winner.
To everyone on minimum wage,
we salute you. If everyone on minimum wage, sticking it to the man by eating one of everything off their board, we salute you. Now, have you seen any of the current Great British Bake Off series going on? If you have, what have you thought?
Oh, I love it. I'd love any Bake Off, to be honest. Definitely missing Mary Berry. She's my bloody idol. And Mel and Sue.
Yep.
Just winners. But to be honest, Noel and
Sandy, yeah.
Sandy, that's the one, sorry.
They're
such good fun. And so is Prue.
It's been really interesting the dynamic they've gone for, because from what we've sort of the way we've viewed it is they've dialed Noel Fielding down.
They'd have to.
He's dialed way back, and he started in the last few weeks to come out of his shell a little bit more and be a little bit more like Noel. But it's worked, and he's actually been really good at that breaking the tension, which is what Mel and Sue were so good with. Was when everyone got stressed beyond belief, they could just cut a joke that would bring everything back down.
Plus, he's also got the disadvantage. It's a cultural advantage because he's a white male with privilege, but he also has to be careful. Like, Mel and Sue could make sexual innuendo without it being an issue. You know what I mean? Because they didn't have penises. So Noel has to kind of,
Well, Sandy can get away with a hell of a lot of that. And she has a couple of times this year.
Yes.
And if you listen, Sandy's been the ones making the innuendo jokes at the males, which is kind of funny. But and yeah, Prue Leith, I really like her. But she's not.
Yeah, she's very likable. Like, I mean, I miss Mary, but she bloody knows what she's talking about. Like, there's no doubt about that.
And she does give Paul a little bit of a run.
Yes.
In terms of, like, keeps him a bit honest and not in the stern school mom sort of way that Mary Berry would do it. She's just very matter of fact, like, Paul, I'm on the same level as you.
But it's also been lovely watching their relationship develop as well, because you could tell on the first day of filming there was still a bit of, ground to make up there. How they're working together. And what are we in now? Week 5? Week 4, week 5?
5, yeah.
It's a lot. You can see that it's working beautifully. And like you were saying, Liesel, she's got a wealth of knowledge. And, I was worried that I'd be disappointed, and I really didn't want to watch this particular series because I was worried about being disappointed, but I'm not.
I love what I actually really adore. What I adore about it. Prue and Paul don't like the same things. I love that.
Yeah.
Right? They don't agree. Right? Prue can find something that she loves in something that Paul hates.
And then like Paul will be all banana custard, and she'll be like, "Yeah, put some rum in it, please."
Yes,
it's like Mary reincarnated.
Yeah, and the other day where it was like, well, that's why we've got every week we got a little segment of what would Mary Berry do, and the answer is usually add booze. But there's been this really interesting, like the other week where it was the caramel, where
it was slightly on the bitter side, and Prue was all about it.
Prue's like, I don't like it being ultra sweet. I really like the bitterness. And Paul
it's Maggie.
About, I want it really, really, really sweet. And it was great because there was this genuine, it wasn't a put on for TV, oh, I don't like this, but I don't like this. And it also helped with the judging because you didn't quite know where they were going.
You know what? You hit on something that it's what makes Bake Off different to the other cooking shows. And like MasterChef is okay with this, but something like My Kitchen Rules is very staged. Like it'll be, okay, Pete, you're going to be loving this menu. You'll just have to be hating this. And they have that agreement that even if, you know what I mean? Like they just...
Yeah, it has to be a little bit more rehearsed, whereas, you're allowed to have your own opinions as judges. Because, I remember doing that Taj Mahal, and I think it was Maggie and Matt both said to me that they hated chai flavoring.
Yep.
And I was like, well... fucking shit, can we not get at the start of all our briefs a list of the flavours that our judges hate?
These are the things you should avoid.
Yeah, but Matt said, look, I'm fine with it now. Like, I've learnt to like it. And Maggie was like, cool, so when you present your bake, we'll keep this off camera, but just point out the biscuits that aren't flavoured with chai.
That one, Maggie!
I'm like, yeah, righto, there you go.
Yeah, how about you eat from this plate?
Yes, this side of things.
And in the current British series, anyone that you've sort of looked at and gone, oh, I really like what they do?
Oh, look, it's hard not to like people that have it all, get together. Like they know what they're doing. Like Sophie.
Yeah.
Like that other guy, what's his name, who does all the elaborate... Stephen, yep, he's fucking superstar with his craftsmanship. He reminds me a little of Antonio with his planning and his
meticulous.
But yeah, my favourite's gotta have to be Liam. Come on.
Yeah, you're a big Liam. Chrissy's a big Liam fan.
He's my favourite.
We had an argument the other day about Liam, why he didn't get Star Baker, and I'm like, no, I can see it. And Chrissy's like, no, I defend Liam.
To the death, yeah.
And then other people jumped on me about it online too. So, you got he's got a Liam fan club. See, I'm firmly Camp Yan.
Because it's waffles.
Yeah. Oh, Yan is awesome.
And what she did last week.
No bullshit.
She did the gelatin setting with the injection and the colour, and then did the first one, and it looked incredible. And she went, oh, I can do better. It's like,
yeah.
What do you mean you can do better?
Well, she did.
I know she did.
She's a scientist. Everything
I know.
Has to be perfect.
Science. It's all about science.
Yes, it's like, shut up.
Oh, I love Yan. I really love Yan. And I love, again,
Stacey's awesome.
Stacey's good fun.
Love her. Yeah.
Wonder, like the blacksmith / workers' health
Yeah,
Right,
Kate, occupational health and safety officer / blacksmith.
I know. My boyfriend and I are watching this together, and he goes, "She's a bit of all right." I'm like, go on again. And he's like, "Well, she bakes and she's a blacksmith, babe. She's got you beat."
Hey!
Oh, thanks for that.
Got a shout out on a international podcast.
Yeah, we have a fan in Iceland or the Netherlands.
Yeah. I was like, fuck you. Go off to England. Marry her. She's single. Go for it.
Go marry the blacksmith.
Yeah, fine.
Actually, don't say that too loud because he
be caressed by her rough blacksmithy hands.
No, but they would be safe.
This is just me having a little bitch. I don't mean anything by it. She seems lovely.
But they would be safe hands because she's an occupational health and safety officer.
What I imagine now, Liesel, is that you're in the backyard changing your shed into a forge.
So it's a blacksmith you want, is it?
Clink.
That blacksmith you'll get.
She suddenly becomes a weapons crafter and she's crafting a sword. Anyway,
this one's not good enough. Give it to the chickens.
You don't tell him, and after about 6 weeks, he starts feeling your right arm starts going, "This is a little bit more muscly than your left arm. What's going on?"
I'd just been forging things.
Just on my days off,
I'd just been forging things like a stronger relationship.
Oh God. Okay, so I'm jealous of Kate.
I was going to say we'll give him a shout out again, but I don't think he deserves one now. So no.
This is enough.
You got your one. Live with it. But no, it's actually been a really good series, and we weren't going into it expecting it to be good. I was expecting the show itself would be, the normal sort of bake-off show, but it was what were we going to be getting around it, and I've been pleasantly surprised.
Absolutely.
I watched episode 1 and went, "This is awesome."
Same, yeah.
And the quality of baking this year, as opposed to British Bake Off last year, is so much better, as opposed to the last series with Candace where she won it.
Yeah.
The standard of everyone in the like that week 1, last season, week 1 they made the stock standard sponge, and half the tent couldn't make it. This year, the first bake was challenging, and everyone basically did it.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, this is a bit different.
Yeah.
These people can all bake.
It's like, damn, we're gonna have to weed them out somehow.
That's been the hard part, because you're like, I don't want anyone to leave. You can all bake.
But this is shit, because my idea for the the Bake Off Ashes is like in jeopardy, because I just wanted Australia to win.
I still think we've got them covered.
That's true.
So,
we do have season 1 and you guys to kind of pull from, and the coming season.
And the coming season as well, which we'll get to see, and we'll get to see that on the 18th of January, which is
a Thursday.
Far later, given that, and they've talked about it. They've talked about it on social media. They started filming in May, so that's a long time.
Yeah, I'm not keen on waiting, but I'm so excited to see what the bakers were up to, because we obviously we were at the grand final for theirs. We got invited back to go to the garden party with them.
Lucky.
Ooh, la, la.
And so I already know who wins.
Oh, lucky.
Not saying anything, but it was really, really awesome to meet everybody, and it was very odd because you didn't know who the bakers were.
You don't know what they baked.
You just going up to some random with a cake going, "Well done."
People coming up to you going, "Hi, you're Liesel. We love you." And you're like, "Hi, person."
Yeah, I didn't actually get the "we love you" part, but it was more like, "Hey, you're Liesel."
Chick talk.
But no, it was so fantastic to meet them all and be like, "Oh, so how'd you do? What'd you have to make? What'd you have?" Like the entire day was just all that, while the finalists were in the shed baking the little hearts out. And we're just like socializing and partying and smashing cake, and yeah, it was good fun.
That sounds like a perfect day. So yeah, no, that'll be good. It'll be good to finally get to see like the series when it emerges. And hopefully we get somebody back on. Now, before we let you go, the other reason we had to get you back on was last time we left you were about to go overseas.
Yes.
We needed a holiday update. We didn't get one.
Yeah, Liz.
Right. Well, I went around Germany.
Baking chick tortas all the way.
Oh, God. Like a
sort of tour.
Chick torta, damp noodle as far as the eye could see.
Exactly. All of the stuff, all the Berliners and the, all the stuff. So actually the kebabs are really good in Germany.
That's what I'm going to Germany. Kebabs.
I need a kebab.
Honestly,
National airport.
Yeah, when you're drunk in Germany off all their amazing beer and you have only had like 2 pretzels that whole day, a kebab goes down so nicely.
Is there any point in time where it doesn't?
No, but they put sauerkraut and red cabbage and different sauces in theirs. It's special.
Now, something else I want to ask you, because we are plagued by it here in Sydney, is Diana's ass.
Wait, Diana's ass?
So Diana has been doing a lot of modelling, as you're probably aware, being the other model from Australia's Bake Off.
Sure.
But she's been popping up in all kinds of ads, and most prominently, the Virgin Airways Virgin
credit card.
And so her butt is just everywhere.
Yep, her booty. She is a fit girl.
What we're going to suggest to everybody, I think, is the game you need to play is when you're walking around, see if you can spot Diana in the ads.
Yes.
I would suggest maybe if you look at, I don't know, a Microsoft ad that's all over, like JB Hi-Fi, for example.
She's there too.
She's there. I walked into JB Hi-Fi and I looked up and went,
hello, you.
Diana.
I was watching an ad for Fisherman's Friend. There was a talking dolphin and Diana. I was like, what the hell,
Once you've trained your eye, so Bake Off Australia people, once you've trained your eye to finding Diana,
yes,
you can't miss her. What we want to find out is the most random commercial you've seen her in.
Where have you seen Diana? We need a hashtag of some description.
I'm hopeful to be
able to... Instead of I spy, it's I die. No,
I die.
I die.
I die. Yes, I die. Perfect.
E-way.
Die spy. Die spy.
Yeah.
Die spy. There we go.
Die spy. Oh, I die. Yeah. Die spy. we'll go with Die spy. And,
probably a good idea.
So we'll exchange. I've given you the Instagram. You've given us a hashtag. Perfect.
Yep.
And then we need to get Diana on during the next run of Australian Bake Off to talk about Bake Off and which is the most random ad we found her in.
Yes.
I think this has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is important.
Excellent. I'd be interested to hear about her experience on Fisherman's Friend. Did she actually get a lifetime supply? Because that's what I presume you get paid in.
I like the idea that you think you get paid in a lifetime supply of that product.
Well, I'd be happy with a
lifetime supply of Virgin credit cards.
Oh my God, I'd be happy with a lifetime supply of Bake Off.
There you go. That's all you need. What else do you need?
A lifetime supply of Dr. Utka.
Dr. Otka.
Oh my goodness.
We haven't seen a lot of Dr. Otka on, and the British show is now sponsored by it because, Channel 4. We haven't really seen it.
But I did transferred across to Foxtel though.
And there's been no marketing in the background. I mean, at least there's Devondale on the back of,
No, Devondale.
Hashtag you ought to be congratulated.
Yeah, I noticed Dr. Oka moved over to the British one. I was like, it's not good enough for you.
They were waiting.
They're trying to get a monopoly on all the bake-offs.
Well, the last thing before we go is, have you noticed that the American and Canadian shows, they're not called Bake Off?
What are they called? We suck
The great.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
That didn't go very well.
Is that what it's called? We decorate off?
I can't trump that with a real name.
Buttercream off?
It's the Great American Baking Show and the Great Canadian Baking Show. Still with the Bake Off font.
Yep.
But it's the Great American and the Great Canadian Baking Show.
They had one season of the American one with Paul Hollywood on it. Did you guys see that one?
I've seen one episode of it.
Yeah, so I think that was called The Bake Off, and then it bombed so hard
that they've scrapped it.
Scrapped it, and that's probably why they've had to switch up the name.
And for North American,
because it was so nice, like they actually did it like the English and the Australian, and made the people nice to each other, and that's why it fucked up. Because the Americans are like, where's the tension? Why is it?
I loved the American one. Honestly,
I like the idea
because it was so American.
Yeah, I like the idea that the reason why they changed the name was because they actually have to explain to the audience in the title what the show is. So rather than Bake Off, and they're like, but they're not against each other. Like they're not like one-on-one fighting for supremacy. what they're going with instead is now it's the Great American Baking Show. Oh, that's what they're doing. They're baking.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's like they have different names for things in America. You know, you have like trash can instead of bin. Like you put the trash in the can. Sidewalk. Or like sidewalk, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so
it's a cell phone.
It's a cell phone and a mobile. Yes, exactly. So no, they actually have to explain. Say what you see. Say what you see.
It's a Donald Trump instead of saying president.
No, but it's just it's a really weird anomaly that I've noticed now. They've renamed them both the Great Blank Baking Show.
Yeah, you know, like we call them bigots, they call them Republicans. It's crazy.
Hey!
Use some aloe vera for that burn.
Zing! And on that note, it's been fantastic to speak to you again, Liesel.
You too, guys. I miss talking. I miss Bake Off. I'm really excited for your wedding.
Oh yes, so are we. So you know, if only we were getting someone to fly all the way over for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, if only.
Yeah. We look forward to seeing you.
Yes.
So, thanks a lot, Liesel. And so
thank you, guys.
I've been Chris.
And I've been Christy.
That's been Liesel. And we will see you all later.
Ciao.